right, welcome back to another episode of the Legacy Builders podcast. I'm your host, Kyle McGee, and today we're diving into a conversation that blends championship culture with deep community impact. Our guest is Greg Harris, owner and team governor of the Pensacola Ice Flyers. Under his leadership, the Ice Flyers have become one of the Southern Professional Hockey League's most decorated franchises with 4 President's Cups championships. But Greg's legacy goes far beyond the rink. He's a passionate community builder, the founder of the Ice Flyers Foundation, and a driving force behind more than $2 million in local nonprofit support. From Saskatchewan roots to becoming a pillar in the Gulf Coast, Greg's story is about purpose-driven leadership, giving back, and building something that lasts. Greg, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd like to start the conversation, if you would, just with your story, and what brought you from Saskatchewan to Pensacola.
It's a tongue twister. Everyone says it differently. So,
how do you say it?
Saskatchewan.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah. So what brought you down here in the first place? And then what were you doing before you became the owner of the Ice Flyers?
So I was a stockbroker over in Western Canada there. So, I grew up, with my family. My grandparents were entrepreneurs. My other grandparents were farmers, and my parents were entrepreneurs. So I kind of had that business minded, mentality going in, growing up and just being a part of their businesses. I started doing data entry when I was 14, 15 years old, to help my mom with all the accounting for the books for the pharmacy and pharmacies, and then medical supply stuff, everything. Right. So, I always had this passion for business, but obviously for hockey as well. Growing up in Saskatchewan, we grew up on the farm and learning, how to skate at about a year old, and then started playing hockey at 3, but that was kind of the normal. My two brothers did the same thing, and my sister figure skated. My dad taught hockey. My mom taught figure skating. So really, we've been around ice for literally our entire lives. And so, yeah, I was over there, and it's a crazy story. I'll do the short version. There's a long version. There's different versions. My younger brother Kevin played for the Knoxville team here, the Knoxville Ice Bears in our league, and so I went down there. So I know the league and everything. And so my dad and I are sitting around, the house, just watching probably some cheesy Christmas movie or whatever it is, right? And he just randomly goes, "Hey, have you ever thought of owning a team in the SPHL?" I'm like, "No." Have you? He's like, "No." And I know my dad. It's his dad, "What did you do?" He's like, "Nothing." He's like, No. What did you do?" He's like, "Well, I called the commissioner and just to see if there's any markets or, teams for sale." I'm like, "Why?" And he's like, "No, I'm just curious." I'm like, "All right." And he said, "Well, look, if you're ever interested, just, let me know and I'll get you in touch with the commissioner." So fast forward a little bit, not maybe a month or two later, I called my dad and said, "Hey, give me that number," and called him. Came down to the headquarters are in Charlotte. So I flew down to Charlotte, met with him, and we actually, the target was Roanoke. I was looking to start a team in Roanoke, and they now have a team and they're doing very, very well. And so we met up there, went up there, met with the GM of the building, met with the mayor, met with some key people, part of the community. But then in my travel throughout the week and a half there, it was the commissioner goes, "Hey, would you ever be interested in buying a team?" And they're like, what's going on?" He's like, "Well, the Pensacola team might be for sale. That owner has now the Biloxi team as well, and he doesn't want 2 teams. So Pensacola has a higher value. So he's thinking about selling it." So I booked an impromptu trip. We got back to Charlotte, grabbed my rental car, drove back into the airport, flew out to Philadelphia that day, spent the night there. The previous owner met me at the hotel there. We had breakfast, spent about 3-4 hours together. He drops me off at the airport in Philly. I'd fly back to Charlotte, and about 2 hours later, I fly back to Canada. And so I squeezed that in, and we just kept in touch. And next thing you know, everything's worked out. And about, that was that February or so, March of 2011, and October 2011, I moved down to Pensacola.
What a story. That's awesome.
It's crazy. It's because I actually get that question a lot. It's like, how did you end up owning a hockey team in Florida? You don't hear that very often. It doesn't make sense. And so, but Yeah, so
Well,
that's
I'm sure that, I mean, I think of, for some reason, the first thing I think of is, man plans, God laughs, right?
oh
And
yeah,
there's
oh
no
yeah,
way you could have like dreamt up this scenario happening. Couple
no.
things that I want to dig in a little bit right there. So you mentioned your dad randomly phones up the commissioner of the minor league hockey team. What did your dad do for a living? And was this guy a Canadian, or was there any connection there?
No,
Did
no,
you
it was
know him?
just no. He just looked them up on the league website and
Emailed him to call?
emailed them or did whatever, and they had a chat apparently. So my dad, he's a pharmacist by trade, so he owned multiple pharmacies. And then my mom was in the medical supply industry as well, owning a couple businesses there too. So they had some cattle, in Manitoba and Saskatchewan as well. So I was part of that. So it's all, like I said, it's been, but now, yeah, mom's retired and dad's kind of semi-retired. He works a week on, week off, just, and it's good because, love him obviously, but he would drive us nuts if he didn't have something to do, something actively,
Right.
pursuing his, challenging his brain. I mean, he's been going at, pharmacy for 50 years now.
Amazing.
It's
Yeah.
incredible. Yeah. It's absolutely incredible. So it's,
Probably anybody would say that about any of us entrepreneurs, right? If we didn't have something to go try to build or do, like, we would drive those closest to us absolutely up the wall.
yeah. And there was a point there where actually, when he sold his pharmacies and he did drive us nuts because his brain had just kept on going, right? And
Sure.
so he was wanting to talk. I'm like, Dad, like, I'm kind of busy right now. I'm
Yeah.
kind of working. I have meetings coming up I need to prep for. I love you, but can we talk later? Okay, yeah, sounds good. So
It's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, no. So it was, yeah. So that's, yeah. It was just like I said. It was completely random and absolutely it was definitely a God thing because I mean I came down, I flew down, I spent 2-3 days in Pensacola. The coach at the time, I found this place I could rent because I didn't really know the area a whole lot, so I didn't know where to go. But he said, "Hey, it's not far from my house. I'd moved my family here, and he was a Canadian, as well. He's from Western Canada, and so there was that connection I had with that coach, and that, yeah, inherent trust, and yeah. So I ended up, not even, renting it without stepping foot in it, and came down and I loaded up my Jeep and sold everything I had. I had two cargo boxes on the top, and that were way overweight for what the manufacturer wants it to be, and had one dog in front of me or next to me in the passenger seat at about eye level, and the other one tucked in a little corner, like about 2-3 feet from my head in the back, and so they were both like right near the top, and made the, oh gosh, 30 something hour trip down here and spend the night. The first couple of nights didn't have a bed yet, so went to Walmart, grabbed a couple pieces of foam. I'm like, whatever, right?
Go
Just,
for it.
yeah,
Yeah.
why not, right? So it was just something about the change of countries, and really, like, the culture down here is obviously completely different than from what I grew up. So it was that was, the weather obviously too,
So that was
but
going to be, that's where I wanted to go next. So you go from Canada, cold as hell, to Pensacola, Florida, which has kind of all four seasons, but can get a little muggy. What time of year did you move down?
October. So it was,
Okay, so the
so I
best
was
time of
I was
year.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was okay. I had,
If it
but
was August, you would have turned right around.
oh no, it would have been brutal. It would have been like, I'm getting. Well, what was happening too is, like, for the first few summers, I was leaving. I was going back to Canada to visit for 2-3 weeks at a time, but it happened to be around the time where the humidity wasn't too bad when I left, but when I got back, it was in full force, and I just struggled the entire summer. It was just,
Yeah.
yeah, get me inside.
Especially being around an ice rink, and then you hit that and it's like a wall
Yeah,
walking
yeah,
outside.
yeah.
So what, you know we talk about the weather, but what about the culture? Like, how do you adapt and you come into this, call it foreign place,
Yeah.
right? How was that transition into the Pensacola culture?
It was really, you hear about, Southern hospitality. You hear about that a lot, right? Everywhere you go, no matter, even in Canada, hey, Southern hospitality, Southern hospitality. And I saw it instantly when I was at because like I said, I sold pretty much everything I owned, and I didn't I was like, I'll just let's just buy some new stuff when I get here. So I'm in Walmart just looking for just like it was like mixing bowls. But I'm like, there's so many mixing bowls. I had no idea, right? So here's this 30-year-old guy. Like I'm like, whatever, I can probably figure this out. And I had this lady in that aisle and she goes, "You look like you can use some I'm like, some what? It's like just some motherly advice. So like you need a mom input on this, don't you? I'm like, sure. What do you got? It's like, well, you want go for the rubber bottoms because they don't like if you're actually gonna be able like. And I'm like, I think that was like this first day. I'm like, this is like, I wish I knew who this lady was, but because it just sent, it was like, all right, that just kind of because I had no idea. I didn't know anybody down here, absolutely no one. And now I got like amazing people in my life that I call brothers and sisters, and so it's the culture is just, I mean, I grew up in the farming culture and the mountain culture, and that's not that not quite that down here. So it is different. But even growing up on lakes and getting used to the salt water, it's just or the salt air even.
Sure.
And now my girlfriend and I were just back in Canada, and we had both said at one point, it's like, oh, I kind of miss that salt air. And we didn't realize how it's like because we've grown to love it, and so it's so different. And I love it when people, friends and family of mine up north that come down and visit because I'm going to show them like what it's like to be here. Yeah, like this is you're going to get an experience because it's literally and figuratively foreign to them. Yeah. And I was like, hey, I'm going to show you this. And this is even having like the military presence. And I've got to know like some incredible people, like, one of my, really good friends, they're, high ranking officers. I just happen to get to know, but I've got to know like, enlisted guys and girls. It's just like everywhere I go, there's that military presence, and it's like that in only a few parts in Canada. Whereas obviously we're here in the cradle of naval aviation, right? Yeah. And it is so amazing because I had grandparents that served and great uncles that served in the world wars, and so it's been great to get to know them and just to hear about them and just talk with them on their side and their commitment and their sacrifice and the things that they go through just being a service member. And so like that's another part of the culture that I've got to really enjoy and embrace, and just really have these people that I call friends, and just not by their rank, not by their their call sign. It's their first name, and that so it's been truly a privilege and honor to get to know them. But again, that's another part of the culture. There's so many different things that this area, like the Pensacola community, can offer, and I really just this is home. This is home for me. So I don't plan on going anywhere anytime soon.
I always love to hear quote unquote transplant because oftentimes I'm a born and raised in Gulf Breeze, and Pensacola is true, my home and always will be. I'm super passionate about the area. So sometimes I'm like, okay, am I just jaded because I'm from here? But then I travel, and the consistent thing is like when people and go on cool trips, Bahamas, all these amazing places, and then you come home and you can't wait to be home. You know? That's a rare thing, right? Like I had family members that used to come visit us on the beach, and then when they would cry leaving the driveway to go back home.
And
it's like we never had that feeling because we were kind of excited to go back home.
Absolutely.
A special place.
Yeah, no, it is, and a lot of people just it's such a well kept secret. And when I show people, they're like, "So where do you live?" I was like, "Just Google Pensacola Beach and click images." And they're like, "That's where you live?" I'm like, "Yeah." I mean, that's. He's like, "Where? How far is that?" Like 15 minutes. They're like, "What?" Like that's they don't realize like. But I mean, it's not just about the beach, right? I mean, it's obviously it's a great thing to have, but I have friends that come down. they've come down by far the most. They make it a family trip pretty much every August. And I swear in my, was it 14 years here, they've probably been down 9, 10 times.
Yeah.
And every year they start looking at houses. There's even one time they actually went and set up showing so they could actually look at houses. They haven't made the move yet, but
Well, they better make the move, because I'm sure 10 years ago prices looked a lot
oh
different.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
And yeah, just one more thing on that Pensacola. You got the beach, you got the country. We're basically Lower Alabama. You got the military presence. It's like all of these things combined, and then the people, right? Like you mentioned, the people are just so special.
Yeah, that's really when I look at even just like coming to the games, we're in the off season now, but come October, I look, it's a very stressful opening night, but I look forward to seeing the people I haven't seen in 6 months.
Yeah.
So and that's where it's like, hey, like what is the definition of home to you? So it's different for everybody, right? But if you don't have the people around your physical location, that it's not going to feel like a home. So it's I think the people will definitely make it a home. More often sometimes more than what actually you settling in, because a part of you settling in is the people with with the people around you. So yeah, that's definitely something I truly value.
I want to just touch one more time on this right here, and that's it's something when, like, if I Google Greg Harris, like, and I know about the Ice Flyers because I was actually a junior ice pilot back in the day.
Oh yeah.
When I think of the Ice Flyers, I definitely think of community, right? And it's clear that community is clearly central to your leadership. When you first came in as the owner, what was your mentality around that, and how did you intentionally seek to build the community and that aspect of the Ice Flyers?
So I probably came in with a very and a deliberately naive approach to it, where it's I've grown up watching NHLers. I've seen what they do away from the ice. I've been on teams, and when I played, hey, like what are you doing beyond the rink? That was always a hope that I would be able, like, hey, how can we make this work? How can we be that professional hockey team that teams can actually potentially emulate, but also the community respects, the community appreciates. There was, it took a while, but it slowly built and then just seeing some of our what we did recently with in the last 5 years is absolutely incredible. And it really, since COVID, everything has really taken off, and we keep doubling, not doubling down, but just really like adding and on top of like the maintenance of what we do, and some of the staple things that we do is like, well, what else can we do? And then we add, so to the point now where we're very, very, very heavily involved. So I'm really happy with the direction that it's been able to come, and really it's because we've taken care of the things internally that our community can really attach themselves to at a hockey game, and more people are coming. So then now we can flip that back around and pump that right back into the community. And so it's always a full circle thing for me. It's never just about the team. It's I pride ourselves on like the people that we can bring down to downtown Pensacola and go to the restaurants and bars in the area and help support the local communities within 10, 15 block radius, whatever it is, or even just in town, and then they stop up north by the airport or the mall or whatever and go to some restaurants, or on 9th Ave or 9 Mile, wherever it is, and then come in. So it's really it was a hope. It was a target, but I don't think I could have really predicted kind of what we've done and what we've and how much the community has adapted us, or adopted us, not adapted, but adopted us, and really really, been involved in so many different things, and it's great to be involved in it because it started out with just being a part of, I think, Barktoberfest with the Pensacola Humane Society, and it was something. Hey, this is it's a good organization. I had 2 dogs, and still got one, and always loved dogs, and so I was like, yeah, this is a good organization. So we were a part of that, and then just a few years ago, you know, the a friend of mine that used to work at Big Brothers Big Sisters went over to the Raleigh Foundation for childhood cancer research, and you know she and Cindy Bonner with the director came over and talked to me about doing like a day of play for some 5-6 boys that were going under cancer treatment. So I was like, absolutely, like let me at this. Like it's kind of like, hey, give me what you want, give me the ability to do something, and then just let me explode it. That's kind of my mentality. It's like, and so we really, got to know some of these kids and families going through cancer treatment, and then that just kind of grew in our contribution. Now we do a Raleigh Foundation night where the guys wear Raleigh Foundation jerseys, and we auction those off. Last year we had we had I think 20 different kids design the front of the jersey. So each kid, and then they signed the jersey. They had their signature on it. So it's things like that. And then we actually won like the challenge team thing. We raised, I think, almost $160,000 for childhood cancer research last year through our different elements. So, then it went into, the Art of Fashion Covenant Care. We've done a My Wish a couple times, part of their My Wish program, granting kids an experience. One was to her father then passing away, and they used to come to games, and their favorite player was his last name was his first name, and so we just worked it all out, and then this past year we did one, and we actually signed the kid to a contract and put him through. They basically put him through like getting sticks cut and set up, and getting gear, and getting the marketing, and took him up to so. And, then now we're involved in the Fiesta, or the Seafood and Crawfish Festival. And then we're also involved in, the Navy Days, Pensacola Navy Days. So we've added, and, actually, potentially getting involved with some other, nonprofits too. So it's really been great. Unfortunately, we have to say no now. I had to say no to someone just a couple of days ago. I'm like, oh, I hate doing this. So it's a terrible downside of it, but it's long answer to a short question.
No,
Sorry, but it was yeah. I don't think I could have envisioned it. I definitely wanted to make sure there was an impact element to what we do on a day-to-day basis, and throughout each game and throughout each season. And I've been blessed to have the staff too that have really taken that on, because I can say it all I want, and I can do it, and I can tell them, but they've really, they come to me with stuff. They come to me with ideas, and so they've really made it a part of their their mission at work is to, hey, how can we keep utilizing our platforms within the team to help our community.
Yeah, it's a great answer, and it's obviously something you're really passionate about. And you think of professional sports teams, and like on the surface level, it's like, oh yeah, they're there to entertain you, right?
Yeah.
To go watch. But whether it's Pensacola small, Blue Wahoos and the Ice Flyers, or these big, Dallas Cowboys or whatever, like the sports teams have such an integral role in bringing the community together and giving back, right? And being able to blow up different nonprofits or philanthropic efforts. And so it's awesome to see you guys lean into that.
Yeah. Thank you.
I was talking with Jonathan Griffith, the president of the Blue Wahoos, on the podcast the other day, and he was talking about like how intentional they are in making the fan experience like really fun, and they do a great job, and so do the Ice Flyers. You guys at the Ice Flyers, like the games are fun, all kinds of different things going on. Do you draw inspiration from other sports or other things, and how do you approach like making the fan experience fun?
So absolutely, everybody, like we're all in an industry where we can take ideas from each other and no one cares, right? It makes everybody like I'll reach out to other, team owners or team, GMs and say, hey, like, how did you guys do that? Like, that looked awesome. Was it good? It's like, yeah, you should try. It's like, all right, so like, give me the details, or we'll connect our staffs and even I know, like, we. Jonathan's probably, they've got some ideas from us, and we've got some ideas from them, and so it's like it's this great, relationship that, and it's like, oh, hey, they did this theme night, and with this hockey team at this level that's way up north, let's try that. That sounds good. Fans will love it. So really, yeah, you can definitely draw inspiration. Not just that, it's like, there has been, we honor a service member that before every game, and we call it the Center Ice Hero. I actually saw that on a broadcast of a Chicago Blackhawks playoff game where they honored a military service member. And I'm like, let's do that. That's awesome. I was fortunate enough, my team was the Edmonton Oilers, and unfortunately we've been lost in the Stanley Cup the last 2 years to the same team. But last year, I mean, they're in Sunrise or South Florida, and I'm like, okay, my team hasn't been in the Stanley Cup, for decades. I got to go a short flight down. I got to go. So I was lucky enough to go down to Game 5, and the videos that I took of what they're doing there, and I'm like, I have the staff. We have the video board. We can do all this stuff, and we did. We actually implemented some of the stuff, or just some of the things that they did at the NHL level, because that's what I want. I want them. We're at a point right now where we even do like a pregame show. There's certain elements, or like, it's like you're at a live game, but if you look up at the video board, it's like you're seeing elements from a TV broadcast for like during warm-ups. They follow a certain player half the screen, and the other half is the stats. And so things like that, like just little things where it doesn't matter what sport you're in. It doesn't matter what level you're in. You can definitely draw inspiration, and you can take ideas and really expand on it and make it fit your market. Going to the next part of your question there, it's when we're looking at our production script, we always try to find the high points and where are they. And then we look at placing them at different levels. So like a high point would be like a fan toss, a t-shirt toss. Everyone goes nuts for those, right? Well, okay, we don't want to have too many media timeouts back to back where there's nothing going on. Like, all right, let's throw in between these two media timeouts, we can toss in a t-shirt toss, because there'll be a point here, and then obviously the play, and then we can have another high point. So really, it's just kind of timing them out to hit certain elevation in terms of fan excitement. And even though you may not be in the section of the fan toss, you're going to see it. You're going to see the faces, and which is also a big part of it too. Where it's like even like simple marketing stuff is like, I was like, don't show like I'll nitpick the photo we use was like, no, do you see that fan and that fan with like, they're not obviously paying attention that there's a camera, but there is. But if someone looks at that person, it looks like they're not having a great time. They're having a good time, but it's just their facial expression at the time. So find one or zoom in, so all you see are people that are excited. That's it. Yeah. Because then you can face to face, you can draw the emotion out. But so throughout the games, it's really, even when it comes to or different theme nights that we do, we want to spread them out. We want to, we've kind of mastered where we put our staple nights, so we keep them, in that same time frame, so we can, kind of just continue to build on it, and fans can kind of expect, hey, January, you're going to get Wiener Dog Race Night, you're going to get Mardi Gras, and you're going to get a Military Appreciation Night. So, yeah, so we really focus on, like I said, we look at the different points of the production script, and then we input high energy elements. Now, it doesn't necessarily need
like a play.
Absolutely. It's a full on, like when I show people our script, they're like, wait, what? I was like, it's a full on. It is. We have 50, 60 people in here. we have video boards, we have corner boards, we have the ribbon, we have like we have a PA announcer and an MC. We got like game day staff. We got like there's a lot of coordination that goes on. We have everybody up in the production booth that's working on there, and they're all my staff too, which benefits us a lot because a lot of teams, they just have to contract out. Like they're forced to contract. Hey, you got to pay this company because the arena's already set this up.
Yeah.
Everybody that's working that game and in the production side is my staff. So if I don't like something they're doing, it's a quick text, or I'm walking to the nearest headset. Like, why are you guys doing this? Like, why was that up there? That should not be up there. Like, so, but. Sure. But no. So but they've come to know like my expectations, and they want to see that too. They want it. Obviously, they want their product because it is a very fulfilling thing, especially if we haven't, last year we had a couple new content creators, and they're creating content for the video board. And the first game, I was like, so how cool is it to see your fans reacting to your stuff up there? It's like, yeah, that's pretty cool. I wasn't expecting that. So it's a very fulfilling thing too, because if at the end of the day, it's like we want this to be an escape for fans, and it's like, hey, yelling is encouraged. Like sure. if you've had a brutal week at work or something going on, come to a hockey game and yell out as loud as you want. Get that stress out. Get that anger out of you, and just let it go. So, but yeah, so it's a careful balance, but yeah, we definitely they're in a mode too where it's if they see certain times of the game where because you can't predict the play of the game, right? If there's certain times of the game, it's like we need some energy, or I'll just text the guys like we need some energy, like change whatever you guys got up, like this crowd's dead. Get some energy going. So then they're starting to talk on the like, hey, what can we do to move things around?
Yeah, it's good. I want to bring out something you were talking about in the first point about stealing ideas, like in the sports industry, and that's across all businesses. I think of some of the best entrepreneurs and best business owners and leaders, like they're always looking for new ideas to incorporate back into their business, right? And it's not about reinventing the wheel.
No.
It's about execution on great ideas, right?
Yeah.
And so that leads me to the next topic, and I want to talk a little bit about your personal leadership philosophy or style. How many employees does the Ice Flyers have?
So right now we're at what, 10? Yeah, we're at 10 right now. Game days, I mean, obviously that gets up to 50, somewhere around there. So yeah.
So the seasonal, right? Because the season is 6 months out of the year or something like that. When it's hectic game days, and leading up to that, what would you say your leadership style and how do you lead?
So, it was actually my dad that gave me probably the best advice, and it's actually really, really simple. And he told me, he said, be predictable. Mm. And so I'm like, why? Like he's like, well, I said, you'll get there. I said, but when your staff knows exactly what you're thinking, what you would say to them, what you would do, it's going to make their jobs a lot easier. And then you're going to get way more productivity out of them because they fully know the expectations of you have without even communicating them, because you have communicated them in various ways in the past. So now they don't need to come ask you what you would think of this or what you should do. So I've really tried to I have very high expectations, and they're not unreal, they're not unrealistic. I mean, it's like, guys, like let's do this. Like, there's no reason why we can't do this. And so, hey, let's take care of things, but in the best way. Let's set the tone. Let's be that team that teams want to be like, and they are. We've got to that point where teams like, man, what do you guys do on the production level? I was like, I would challenge anybody. Like, I mean, I've been at games at the next level up. They don't do. I've come back with the guys are. I'm not being biased. You guys, I said, you guys go to those games and don't think that we do a better job with our fan engagement and our production levels. Um, so, it's like, again, it's just like, just because we're a single A hockey team doesn't mean we can't compete. We can't do things that the NHL does. So it's setting that, being predictable, but it's setting that tone and that expectation that that they want to be a part of too. So, but at the same time, hey, when I tell people, candidates, I get often asked this the most from candidates, who like, what's your culture like there? That's, well, we're gonna be the best team in the league, and we're gonna get some unbelievable work done. We're gonna do some great quality work to show our fans what we do. We're gonna do some amazing things in the community to help our community. But at the end of the day, we're gonna have some fun. Like, we're gonna. I'll be, I'll sometimes on my own, the biggest nightmare, because I'm the one that's diverting a conversation, or talking in the conference room, because I thought of something that related to something that someone said. It's like, and then off we go, and we're all laughing about, oh yeah. So it's like, or game days, if I'm in a certain vibe, I got my, I'll crank, Party in the USA or Barbie Girl or something. I'll be singing as loud as I can in my office. It's just like, because like, I say, like, I don't want game days to be stressful. Like, we've known about the game days for months. We've met about them. We've planned about them. Now, I don't want them to be stressful, but they can be, and sometimes they are. But at the same day, it's like, hey, let's chill. Like, you guys want to, pump some music, go for it. Like, let's have some fun. But at the end of the day, it's, if the work's not getting done, then that goes away. So it's a balance. And, so I, every now and then, got to ring him in a little bit, but that's just, that's being a leader. That's natural. No, it's great to see, because the staff, it's almost like I operate the office kind of like a hockey team itself, where it's like, if you're not a good fit, you might be doing great work, but if you're not a great fit and you're causing problems, you're gone. Yeah. Like, and that's my message with, with the players as well. Like, I don't care how good a player you are, if you create problems for us in the community or away from the ice, you're not going to be an ice flyer. You're going to be gone so fast. And I tell them the story. Like, there was two that we got rid of, the leading scorer of our team. I was telling the coach, get rid of them. And the next year we won the championship. So it's like, tell me I'm wrong. Right. So please, like,
proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right. So yeah, that would be.
That's good. And it's really, I really like how you phrase the be predictable, and it makes sense, because if you can have your people seeing through your lens, like your vision for this, then like the beauty is in the people, right? Yeah. Your people make the show go round. You can have the greatest vision, but if you don't have your people on the same page, then it don't mean nothing, right? Yeah. So I really like that.
Yeah, you don't think of it that, like, it was something so simple, right? Like two words, and not a paragraph of stuff that do this. It's like, be predictable. End of story. And it's definitely
positive, predictable. Flying off the shelf, high temper, like, oh, it's predictable. There's Greg again.
Yeah, exactly. And then even our coach came in, Rod Aldoff, that won 3 championships with us, and he came in. It's sign up in our locker room now, and his thing was be a pro. And when you look at that, and even it's funny, because like our staff have kind of taken on that as well, because and when you look at that, be a pro, it's like, well, what does that mean? It's like, well, that means it's not just showing up for games. That's showing up, for practice, but that's also showing up on time. That's taking care of yourself off the ice, away from taking care of yourself in the community, taking care of your community, taking care of your family, of your teammates. It's, it's so it's not just showing up and being a good professional hockey player for 29 games or 58 games a year. It's everything that encompasses what you do on a minute-to-minute basis. And even, hey, if you guys are out having a good time after a couple wins and you're at piano bar or something, wherever you're intermission, wherever you're hanging out, there's still that mentality. It's you got to be a pro. It doesn't matter where you are, and it has spilt over to the business side as well, the office side. So they take that to heart.
Love it. Love it. So the show is called Legacy Builders. So obviously there's a legacy theme I like to try to intertwine in these episodes. What does the word legacy mean to you personally and professionally?
Oh, whew, that's heavy. All right. So I would say it, and I would probably join the two because in my mind, the same thing would prevail. It would be man, there's a lot of thoughts going on with that. That's a heavy question. I've never been asked that question. That's a good one. That's a really good one. Legacy. I would say, I'm obviously, you could say it's like, well, like leaving a lasting impression and all this stuff. Like I would say it's, affect one person's life and you've left a legacy. Like, for example, hey, perfect. Look at the story I told you right at the start of the podcast. That lady that was a mom to young guy that was, didn't know what mixing bowl to choose, So I would say that because I mean, to me, it's, and that's I think a lot of what we do as as a team and what we focus on is like, hey, like we want to leave that lasting impression. We want to impact somebody. We want, I tell our players this. It's legacy you can often think of as a super long-term thing, and that's the inherent meaning of it. But I've told our players is like spend 30 seconds with the kid. You have no idea. 10 seconds. And I said, and I've received this. I've received this feedback where you just want to reach out and say, really appreciate this player, just saying hi to my little guy for, chatting with him for 10, 15 seconds. And I was like, oh, thank you so much for for that. That's awesome. And, I was just curious, like how, because she says like, he hasn't, this is his favorite player. He hasn't stopped talking about this moment. And I was like, it's like, oh, it's cool. It's like, well, how long ago was that? Thinking it was this past weekend. She goes, it was 3 months ago. Yeah. And I'm like, wait, what? I said, so you spent, and so I tell our guys this. I said, you spent 10 seconds, 15 seconds with a kid, and he's still talking about that 3 months ago. Look at what you have done to that kid's life. Look at what you, look at that legacy that you have left by simply spending 10 to 15 seconds. So I think the other side of it too would be to never underestimate, your impact, because that can leave that lasting impression, that legacy, mentality with somebody by just doing something small. And so it doesn't need to be anything big. It doesn't need to be owning a hockey team. It doesn't need to be being a billionaire. Everybody I think has an opportunity to leave a legacy, no matter how, if it's for, centuries to come, for years to come, or for months and minutes to come.
I love that answer, and it's a good reminder that, like you said, like you don't know what kind of impression you can have on somebody in such a short amount of time, and it can be positive or negative, right?
Yeah.
They don't know what's going on in your life, and you could have had a bad interaction with, whoever, be having a bad day, and you snap at someone, and that little kid is now like that asshole for 3 months,
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
and that was just one bad moment, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like,
Yeah.
Gotta always be on in a sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's that impact, right? Like that's a great
Yeah.
point. You can talk all and I always say, like koalas and rainbows, but
Yeah.
hey,
Right.
sometimes it goes on the negative side, and you
Yeah.
got to make sure you're owning up to it and making sure that, hey, you're being a pro. You're taking care of things around you, and so you can, like I said, that's a great point too. It's unfortunately there's a negative side to
Sure.
those impact moments.
You're an owner of a professional hockey team. You obviously had to have some level of success to get to that point to even be in that position. I look at it as high performers, it's always easy outside looking in, like, oh, it must be nice. Like that guy's got this thing or he's got this level of success, but there's
Mm.
typically things that happen behind the scenes, right?
Oh
And it's
yeah,
built around habits, disciplines,
yeah.
like these things that people are doing that others aren't. What habits, disciplines, or non-negotiables have helped you stay grounded and sharp?
Oh boy, man, you're hitting hard ones, deep ones, not hard ones, but deep ones. I think it is if you're looking at comparing others, right? Like that's like you mentioned that, and it's like, oh, they have this or they have that. I saw something, I don't know how many years ago now, was and it really hit me. It was like, don't compare your step 1 to someone's step 20.
Mm,
And because that, you think some of these very successful people started like where they are? No, they aren't.
right.
No one has. I mean, maybe I should say no one, but maybe, yeah. Obviously, some people, they get it handed to them on a silver spoon. But at the end of the day, you're not. You have to take care of what works for you, and then the mindset and surroundings that work for you, and not what works for me. It's because what exactly what works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for you. What works for you doesn't mean it's going to work. What didn't work for you doesn't mean it's not going to work for me. So it's like, and vice versa. So it's not just that, but if that's I think the trap that a lot of unfortunately people can get sucked into, because it's everyone sees, especially with social media and Instagram and everything like that. It's like, oh, look at this, look what this person's doing, look at you have no idea what they're doing. You think Kobe Bryant became one of the best of all time? Like, if you've ever, like, you want, if kids now would ever, like, just like, should be like mandatory to hear what he did, on a day-to-day basis, just to train. And that mentality, it's like, well, it's like, hey, I'm gonna train 3 times a day, and you can only train 2 times a day, because in a year's time I've done how much.
What's the quote? It's like, you want what I have, but you aren't willing to do what I do.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you have any specific like habits that you are like, it's a non-negotiable? I've got to do these things every day in order for me to be in my clearest headspace, show up as my best self. Do you have any of those?
Do you know what it is? Honestly, the the best the best habit that I think I don't succeed at this all the time, but it's actually shutting off.
Mm,
Because if I don't because I'm so consumed by this, right? And I love it. It's a passion of mine. I'll do this till I'm dead, So it's balance is a very tough thing. Balance is kind of a funny word when it comes to work-life balance. That's not in my mind. That's not really a thing. Balance is what you make it. Like, I, you know, I maybe work too much or think about this too much. But at the end of the day, it's like, this is a passion of mine. Like, I love doing it. Like, there's the balance. It's I'm doing something I love, and so I think the habit that really try to do is, like, try to shut off, because it's that word. Hey, they get up in the morning, get focused, get in. There's like little things where it's like, hey, I like making phone calls on the way in to work, because that cuts out half hours of phone calls in the day. You know, on the way back out to my house, there's often times where I don't have a single thing going on. There's no music, there's nothing, and it's quiet. And it's because I have been going nonstop all day. I've been talking all day. And so it's like this is my peace. This is my shut off time. So as much as like you can kind of flip the script of like how can you it's kind of like with let's talk youth sports, sometimes like some of the best things I always try to encourage is like you don't need to play hockey 12 months a year.
Yeah.
Go
Play
do
the
something
sport.
else.
Yeah.
Develop your hand-eye doing something else. Develop your how you approach things doing something, do another sport, do something different. Shut off, because you can burnout is a very, very big thing. And I know growing up when I played summer hockey, like AAA summer hockey, my two worst seasons growing up were the year after I played summer hockey.
Mm.
And I never had, that's my experience. Sometimes it works, but I think, again, that habit, when you're talking about that habit, a lot of times you think of like those good habits, right? Or it's like, hey, what can you do? But it's like it's actually you have to look at what shouldn't you do to really get into that, to be able to succeed. You need a break. You need to shut off. And trust me, I'm not an expert in it by
Yeah.
any means. So,
Yeah.
but those are some like the little things that it's like, hey, if
No,
I can.
it's really interesting you bring this up because this is like a rare thing that people talk about, and especially high performers like entrepreneurs, like people really getting after it, passionate about what they do. There isn't a work-life balance, it's a work-life blend, right?
Yeah,
The clarity you get when you actually can shut it off and like
yeah.
not look at your phone or like wake up and read a business book and you're on vacation and you're reading about business books to bring in ideas to your work, but like actually completely disconnecting the mental clarity that it can bring to your life and
Oh,
bring fresh perspective to it. Like, and next thing you know, this thing you've been laboring over for months, you go take a break and you come back and boom, the answer's right there.
oh
It's
yeah.
like funny how that works.
No, absolutely, and that's where it's like it's again, it's not necessarily what you're doing, it's what you're not doing, right? And so that's a great point where it's like, and I've told the staff, I said, guys, like there's our gym right here. Go in it. If you're frustrated about something and you
Yeah.
got your workout gear, go hop in the gym for 15-20 minutes, or go walk around the arena, go around the stairs, go around the ramps, go do some, just
Yeah.
get out of the office. And even like, and I do that on game days too. It's like, guys, like I don't want you, like it's a long day, like especially
Yeah.
on a Friday because it's a regular office day, so it's 8:30 in the morning that they're here, and it's 10:30 at night, 11 o'clock by the time they're
Yeah.
leaving. That's a long day. It's like, guys, like get the stuff done and get out of here. Like go home, go take a nap, go downtown, go do something, get away from this, take a break, shut your brain off, and then come back and let's rock. So
Yeah. It's good stuff. If you could pass on only one character trait or principle to the next generation, what would it be?
holy cow, man, dude, just one. There's too many. There's too many. It's and it could be a little cliche, but I would say it's not hard to do a good thing, and that's so if you have that mentality of where if you're passing that down, it's like just it's simple to be a good human being. It really isn't hard. So I mean that doesn't matter where you are. Like just even like a funny story. Like just was it 2 nights ago? I was at Publix. I was walking in, and the guy in front of me was like, "Hey, here you go," and he threw. He was getting a cart, and he saw me turning too, so he threw out a cart to me instead. I'm like, "Oh, thanks, man." And then on the way out, a different guy. I just finished loading up my couple some groceries in the vehicle, and I turned, and a guy is on the other side of the parking, like that lane, and he's walking his cart to the cart, area. Well, I don't even know what you call it, but and he goes, "Hey, toss it my way." I was like, "What?" He's like, "Toss your cart. I got it." It was like, "Okay," and I just like rolled my cart, away. He's like, I was like, "Thank you." He's like, "Yeah, no problem." I'm like, and it's stuck with me. I'm like, that, like, if you think about that, that's so simple, so simple. And it was like, huh, like it was like, it's not, yeah. If I could pass on anything, it's like, just be good, do good,
It's actually harder to be a jerk.
Yeah, 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 exactly. It's way more effort. It is way more effort to actively be a jerk and a bad human being than it is to be a good one. So, but
It's a
yeah,
great
so I
principle.
think
And, yeah, you could take that through every area of your life, right?
everything.
And every interaction. So really
Because
good.
at the end of the day, it's like, if you're looking at being a good employee, a good boss, a good leader, just do good, be good. That's it. You don't. It's that's because at the end of the day, and if people don't like it, guess what? They're not for you. They're not. They're not. Get rid of them. Like,
Right.
get them off your team. Get them. Or fine if you're if your boss is an absolute jerk, find something else.
Get rid of
Like,
them.
you find get
Yeah.
yeah, get rid of them. Like,
Yeah.
you control that.
Yeah.
Like, now, if you're slacking off and being an idiot yourself, I mean, hey, there's often we don't look ourselves in the mirror
Yeah.
a lot.
Actions have consequences.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So
Yeah.
so yeah, yeah,
Well, good stuff. I think we'll leave it at that. I mean, that is great to end it on. Just be a good person, do the right thing,
yeah.
right? For any of you listening. So, super grateful for you to come on today, Greg, and share everything. It's a great story, and love connecting with, not only local Pensacola leaders, but those that are just doing great things out in the community. If anyone listening out there like really resonated with something or wanted to reach out to you directly, how could they get a hold of you?
Yeah, just show up to a game. No, no, no. Hey, they can they can call the office here. 850-466 3111. They can find me. They can shoot us an email, and I can connect. So just Greg at iceflyers.com. So simple. So hey,
Yeah, we'll put
if you're not happy how a game went, you can email me and yell at me through an email. That's okay. I get those. So, but yeah,
part
no,
of
no, absolutely. I'd love to. Like I said, I could talk about this stuff for days, and yeah, always love an opportunity to chat with some people about what we're doing.
Yeah, and we'll put a link to Greg's email in the website in the show notes. And to everyone listening, thank you. If you've been inspired by today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, share it with someone who's passionate about making a difference. Until next time, keep building your legacy with intention and impact, and we'll see you soon.